What is up guys, Andy Forest Team Runner here, and today I'm giving you guys my first impressions of the New Balance Fuel Cell Prism. So that's 15 miles done and dusted in the New Balance Fuel Cell Prism. Today I'm going to be going through with you guys my first impressions of this shoe and of course a technical overview of how this thing is constructed. But fear not, as always with our first impressions, this is just commenting on the first run. We've got far more testing that's going to be going into the shoe. We've got a speed run test and a long run test to do, and of course my overall thoughts. So if you're excited for today's video guys, make sure you give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and we'll start with the tech. So New Balance haven't been very forthcoming with information on this shoe on their website, just a very general synopsis of what the shoe is about. There's nothing about stack height on there and heel to toe millimeter drop. The only thing I can find on the internet anywhere is Road Trail Run reporting that this shoe has a 6mm drop, but in terms of stack height in the heel and the forefoot, I'm really sorry, I have absolutely no idea. Not even sports shoes, where I normally get my shoes from, have any information on there, but I can confirm that in my UK size 13 I did indeed go true to size. Some New Balance I have to go a size up. This one I was able to go true to size, so it's a 13.5 because that's what New Balance do when you get up into the bigger sizes. And it's 308 grams or 308 grams or 10.9 ounces. And what we'll do as always is we'll work our way from the heel, talk about the heel counter area, the tongue, the lacing system, work our way down the upper of the shoe, talk about this awesome midsole and then the rubber outsole before diving in to the first impression. So we'll start with the heel counter area, something very familiar that we see a lot in New Balance shoes and actually quite a lot in other shoes is this flared arch away from the Achilles. We see we've got quite an aggressive curve here, which really low swoops down under the ankle bone and then swoops right up behind and away from the Achilles. And let me tell you, it fits like a dream. So the Propel for me and the TC and some of the other shoes, actually the Nike React Miler as well, this bit here doesn't cut down low enough, and especially in the Propel I did find walking around this bit rubbed on the base of my ankle bone, but this, they seem to have got the shape just right in the shoe. This is the perfect shape, and it's a medium plush heel counter area. Again, a bit like the Speed, we've got plush or plusher cushioning at the top here, but when you get to the bottom it's a bit more rigid, a bit more firm. The material used in and around here is firmer because this is a mild supportive shoe. Got my wording right there. It's not like fully supportive, but it's a mild supportive to correct pronation, which we'll come to in a minute. So the heel counter area is a bit firmer just to ensure that your heel doesn't go anywhere, slide around and help that pronation, along with the medial post that we'll talk about in the midsole shortly. So that's really nice. Again, with the tongue, this is not a gusseted tongue, it's a loose tongue. Medium plush, not too thin, not too thick. I seem to use that phrase a lot, but again, that's exactly how it is. And it fits really, really nice. Goes obviously all the way down to the base here, and it works beautifully. Lacing system, dead simple, nothing fancy, no extra anything, just a beautiful, what I come to expect from New Balance. I say it time and time again with New Balance, they just deliver the goods when it comes to well-fitting shoes, for my feet anyway. So nice simple lacing system. Laces are perfect length to allow you, if you need to use that extra runner's loop. But I did not need to in this shoe. I got a perfect lockdown straight away. Then we move on to this engineered mesh upper. Again, it's a really nice upper. You can see it's quite baggy. There's a bit of extra material here and I haven't had to go up a size. My foot fits in it really nicely, but when it's loose, there is a little bit of extra material. And we've got this dotted pattern of the New Balance logo on here, a bit similar to the TC. And the only extra thing that we've got going on, let me check on this side. Yeah, we've got a very, very slight, not an over, it is an overlay. I don't know what material it is. It feels funny. I can't explain. It's not suede like they use in the TC. It's similar to suede, but it's not. And it just covers in and around the heel counter area. And that just gives a tiny, tiny bit more stability there. And we'll come on to the midsole shortly, where the main stability feature happens. But overall the upper is really nice. I can see through it, so it's nice and lightweight, lots of holes, very ventilated, very, very nice. And the morning that I took it out for a run was nice and warm, so I was able to test how ventilated it was. My feet did not get hot or sweaty. Moving on to the Fuel Cell midsole. Now, this is interesting because it was absolutely fantastic, but it was slightly firmer than the TC and the Propel that I've tried. So I'm wondering, and I can't find it anywhere, this is just a hunch and I'd love to know if any of you guys know, but I'm wondering if the composition of this midsole is slightly firmer, and I'm going to think that it is because it's a supportive shoe. You guys know how soft soft Fuel Cell midsole is, and for a person that needs a supportive shoe, can't get my words out, person that needs a supportive shoe, that soft midsole can cause a problem with pronation. So I'm wondering if they've made the composition of it slightly firmer. It's still really soft enough, but it's firmer. And we've got this section here in the medial post which is super firm, just to help stop that pronation. And I have to say, hats off to you, New Balance. You've created a supportive shoe, because so many people say to me, I need a supportive shoe, I want to try all these amazing shoes, and there's nothing out there lightweight, and there's nothing out there that really is cutting edge from the supporting department. If you need mild support, this thing is it. I mean, they've done such a fantastic job on making it supportive. If you watch the B-roll, you'll notice that my right ankle doesn't roll out as much as it does in some of the shoes, so I noticed it straight away. So we've got this extra support here in the medial post here, so that's great. And as I said, I've got a hunch, slightly firmer Fuel Cell, but still the good old Fuel Cell that we know. And then quite a lot of outsole rubber covering for good traction. I did find great traction in this shoe. It covers a lot, and again, that's going to help with stability because you're not running on sort of open midsole on the bottom there that can soft and squish. You need that extra rubber if you have a supportive shoe, just to ensure a firm landing. And when the midsole starts to wear as you put the miles in, you might get softer areas and harder areas, so the foot is likely to rock a bit more. This is going to stop all of that happening, and it's the perfect amount. And Peg 37, if you're listening, this is how you put outsole rubber on a shoe that gives good grip but keeps it lightweight. And that, guys, is it for the tech. So how did I find this shoe on its first impressions? Well, as you probably gathered by the smirk on my face, again, just like with the Speed, I seem to have come across two gems of shoes, and we have a perfect partnership going on here with the Speed and now the Prism. So actually, my intentions when I bought this shoe, I saw this shoe advertised a way back in the beginning of the year, and I thought, Fuel Cell midsole, I love it, I want it, I've got to keep my eyes open for when this shoe releases. And I missed the release. The release was last month, and I thought, well, I had enough shoes to test last month, I'll slot it into this month. And I'm so glad I waited patiently and didn't go out and buy something else, because this is going to fit into my training rotation absolutely perfectly. I slipped this thing on and could not believe how lightweight it is for a stability shoe, or for a mild stability shoe. 10.9 ounces, just tipping the 300 gram mark. It is super light. It's only 0.9 ounces heavier than the speed that I'm running in. I literally put my foot in this and couldn't believe it. I was expecting something a bit more like the Propel, a bit more heavy weighted, a bit more daily trainer-esque. I have to say, I instantly drew comparisons when I put this thing on, not by feel, but by what this thing can do with the Nova Blast and with the Rincon. So those two shoes for me have been something that I can do absolutely anything in, and I'm going to hands down say straight away, without doing any more testing already, this is a shoe you can do everything in. It's light enough for speed work, it's got a pop, it's halfway between the TC and the Propel. For those of you who know the Propel and know my reviews on the Propel, I love that shoe, but it can be very sloppy when you try and pick up the pace. It had no oomph when you try to get back from it. This thing does. It seems to give you a push that the TC gives you, but without the plate, if that makes sense. So it sits nicely in the middle, and it's also going to soak up those easy miles. I'm not going to be afraid to do tempo runs in this shoe or intervals, nor am I going to be afraid to do steady runs or easy runs, unlike the speed that we're testing, where when you put it on for easy paces, it is just, it just doesn't work. This thing is another jack of all trades shoe, and for the bargain price of £98, which you can get it for on sports shoes, or £110 on New Balance, and then use the discount code NBGIFT4U, that's going to get it down under £100. It's an absolute steal. I want to compare this to the Beacon, which is again a similar price, a daily trainer that can do everything. And what would I choose between those two? This thing, hands down every time. Fuel Cell midsole is absolutely incredible. I went out for a run and planned 10 miles. I ended up feeling so good in this shoe. I just kept running and running and running until I got to 15 miles. And I was just like, do you know what? I really should wrap it here. But I could have kept going. I could have done a 20 miler that morning very easily. This shoe slipped on my foot and just disappeared as I started running. So I'm very excited with how this thing felt. I'm very excited for the prospect of what's to come in this shoe, and I think we're going to rapidly hit 100 miles in this thing, because this already I'm feeling is going to be a great go-to shoe. So that's it for my first impressions, guys. Let me know in the comments below if you've managed to snag a pair of the Prisms. They're not as hard to come by as the Endorphin collection, so they're out there and readily available for you. Let me know in the comments if you like them, if you don't like them, what you think about them. I can get away with mildly supportive shoes, not full-on support. They hurt my arches and my feet, but mild support is absolutely fine. And yeah, I'm just so glad I was patient and waited and picked up a pair. So that's it for today. As I said, let me know in the comments if you have it, if you like it, if you don't like it, what your thoughts are on the shoe, and if you love Fuel Cell midsole as much as I do. If you enjoyed today's video, guys, make sure you give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and as always, I'll see you on the next one. Until then.